Greetings everyone, this is Odysseus, and welcome to my Arkham Horror Campaign video series. The purpose of this video is to sort of lay out to you what I'm trying to achieve here in this video series, and what I'm trying to achieve is I want to play a series of Arkham Horror games that, over the course of which, I plan on defeating all of the Ancient Ones, hopefully before I lose all my investigators. And I want to sort of explain in this video all my house rules and setup configurations, how I do things before I play the game for all my setup, so I don't have to do that at the beginning of each of my playthrough videos. Okay, first of all I want to say that Arkham Horror is one of my favorite games of all time. I really enjoy playing it, and I'm just really excited about being able to do this for you. Hopefully you'll follow along and enjoy it and give me your comments and feedback below, and that will direct and help me to make better presentations or better playthrough videos for you guys. Okay, for my setup and rules, first of all, the rules and sets I'm using. I will be using all of the sets. All of the cards from all of the sets will be mixed into my decks. For the expansion boards, I will roll a random setup for each of those. There's a 1 in 3 chance that any given board will be used in any given game, and I will determine that at the beginning of the setup. For the Ancient Ones, I will be determining each one randomly at the beginning of each game until an Ancient One is defeated, at which time they'll be taken out of the mix. If an Ancient One wins and defeats the investigators, they will remain in the mix of Ancient Ones to be chosen at a later time. For the investigators, the first matchup, the first game, I will be choosing randomly 4 investigators to be played, and then I will choose behind that 4 other investigators in the same order as backup investigators. And this leads into some of my house rules. I have only really 2 house rules that I've really going to be using in this video series. The first is about the replacement investigators. Normally in the rules, of course, you have an unlimited amount of investigators to replace devoured investigators over the course of the game until the Ancient One awakens, but we don't do that. Each investigator has 1 backup investigator that will replace them if they are devoured during the course of the game. If your second investigator is devoured, that investigator will not be replaced, and the team will have to go on 1 investigator short. After the first playthrough, the first game, the way I will select the investigators is slightly different from there on out. What I will do at the beginning of each matchup is I will create a grid, a 4x4 grid of investigator cards. On each of these investigator cards, I will place a die with a number on it that matches how many times that particular investigator has been played over the course of the campaign. Then I will sum each row and each column, taking the lowest summed row or column. The purpose of this is to try and get investigators to the table that are not being played very often, or don't get to the table that often. In the beginning, it will not make that much of a difference because the number of plays on each investigator will be low anyway. But as the campaign goes on, certain investigators who have been played 2, maybe 3 times, will be seeing less of, and the ones that have been played less or not at all will be making it to the table more often. The only other significant house rule that we will be using during the course of this video series will be concerning the gate bursts. Now, in my personal opinion, the gate bursts are really a big kick in the face. I really feel like it's very deflating to have gotten to a certain point in the game, you're very close to winning, and then a gate burst happens and suddenly you're set back a significant amount. So we have changed the rules for gate burst just slightly. Now, if there is a gate burst, we'd still lose the seal, but a gate does not open. Instead, we have a monster surge. I find that this isn't a huge change in the rules, and yet still doesn't feel as deflating. I can't tell you how many times I've been very close to winning, and then the 1 or 2 turns before I'm about to win, we have a gate burst, and then suddenly we have lost. After we've really struggled and done pretty well, that is pretty big hit to the enjoyment of the game. So we've replaced this one rule. Okay, most of the games that I will be playing will be played solo. And maybe all of them. I do not know. It depends on whether I can get my friends to come sit down with me at the table. But mostly, and if not all, I will be playing in a solo mode with 4 investigators. I will to say that Arkham Horror is one of the games I enjoy more than just about any other game I have in my collection. I really enjoy pretty much all aspects of Arkham Horror. I love setting the game up. I find it flavorful and thematic, and I love the process of getting everything ready to play, getting an image in my head of who the investigators are, why they're teamed up, and what goals they've set for themselves, their personal stories and things like that. I will be using all of these things as just part of the setup that I just really, really love. But I love playing the game. I love the mechanics. I love the flow. I love the way it feels. It's so rich in theme, so enthralling to me. It really, really pulls me in. I really love playing this game. I will say that the more players you put on the table, the harder it is to maintain the energy for me. Because not necessarily for me, but for the other players, because I'm always engrossed and I'm always pulled into the game very, very deeply. But the more players sitting at the table, the harder it is to maintain that energy. So that's just one of the reasons we don't play with all of our players at the table a lot. It's just harder for everybody else to maintain that level of enthusiasm for the game during the game. So, if you haven't played a lot of Arkham Horror, I'm pretty sure you'll probably observe the same thing. I like to keep the player counts low, all the way down to solo. I just completely love playing this game solo. It doesn't bother me at all doing that. But then maybe only 2 or 3 players at the table, maybe 4, but you really don't want to give pretty much above 4. The game drags on, and it seems to slow down because there's a lot more talking, a lot more decision making that has to be done, and you want to discuss these thought processes and the way you're making decisions, because it impacts the game pretty greatly. Now, when you're playing solo, of course, you don't have to do that because you're just playing. All of your decisions are with yourself, so you don't have to discuss why you're thinking certain things. Though in the course of this video series, I will be trying to think out loud. I will be trying to articulate and let you know what I'm thinking and why I'm thinking and why I'm making the decisions that I am. This will make my games go a little bit longer than I'm normally used to. I can usually go through a solo play of Arkham Horror with 4 investigators, 2 to 2.5 hours. It's going to make it go a little bit longer, but I think it will be worth it, and I really hope you enjoy it. This will mean that I will probably have to break the videos up into mini videos for one playthrough, doing 1 or 2 turns in one individual video, and then grouping them together so that you can see the whole series that way. That's a lot of videos. There are more than 20 ancient ones, and if each video is 2 to 3 hours worth of video, we're going to be talking a lot of videos. So I'm really hoping that I can maintain the energy and keep this thing going. It's going to take me quite a while to put all this together, but I really hope you enjoy it, and I really would appreciate your feedback and your comments in the sections below, letting me know things that I've missed, possibly a rule I've gotten wrong. I really hope I don't get any rules wrong. Most of the time, if I discover I've played something incorrectly, I will chalk it up to experience and say that was just a culmination of maybe some bad choices I would have made. It would not have impacted the game in a way that would cause me to want to replay it. However, if I get something drastically wrong, if I play a rule just completely incorrectly, I will go back and replay that scenario and replay that game if I think it's going to impact the outcome greatly. Most of the time I would not do that. I have found there's a couple of cards that I have misread, or some specific rule nuance that I just missed and I did not get it right, and I have gone back and played those before. But most of the time, if I get something wrong, I'm probably just going to chalk it up to, well, I blew it, but it's not going to affect the outcome of the game in my opinion, so therefore we're just going to move on and let the campaign continue. Well, that's about it. I'm going to get my games ready to set up and generate my first setup, so we're just about to get ready and underway. I should be starting any time now, and I really hope that you guys enjoy this. Please like the videos and keep on following and let me know what you think. Until the next video, enjoy it, keep on playing. Thanks, bye. Okay, there are a couple more things during setup that I need to explain as well. When I am determining which guardians and heralds and institutions to use, I will roll at the beginning of every matchup to see if we're using them at all. And there's a 1 in 3 chance that I'll use a guardian, a 1 in 3 chance we'll use a herald, and 1 in 3 chance we'll use an institution. And if we are going to use one of them, I will randomly determine which one we'll be using, weighting the randomization towards the ones that have been used less. I won't go through all the processes of that, but I will explain which ones we're using at the beginning of each matchup, if we're using any at all. Also, we will be using the Injuries and Madness rules out of the Dunwich expansion. Even if we're not using the Dunwich board, of course, we're going to be doing those things. We will be using personal stories, and we will be using relationships between all the characters as well. Keeping in mind the rule that if you have a replacement investigator, they do not get a relationship. They come in with no relationship at all to any of the other investigators. I think that that's going to cover all of the optional rules and setup rules that we will be using, and it'll be time to get things underway. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.